The Arena World Championship 2023 started with a bang, and with its explosive beginning, Evokers had a truly breathtaking performance. In today's video, we'll be covering the scope of both Preservation and Devastation specializations in the first week of competition, so you can look to add them to your arsenal of play or learn to combat them. Let's start with Devastation, and who else but Trill to be the first to mastermind this class. Let's look at his base specialization, which saw him and Team Liquid pull up to second place in AWC Cup 1. Key crowd control talents to take away from Trill's build will be Landslide, Terror of the Skies, and Sleepwalk. These will be pivotal in controlling the fight and setting up our damage. Key defensive talents will be Obsidian Scales, comboed with the honor talent Obsidian Mettle, Renewing Blaze, and Rescue. These will allow us to survive burst moments and to aid our allies with mobility. Key damage talents will be Dragon's Rage, Shattering Star, and Focusing Iris, as combining these spells will allow us to hit critical burst damage. Now that we've got our talents selected, let's look at setting up your burst. Mez would focus on grouping enemies together on his Death Knight using Death Grip, which then would enable Trill to fly through them with Deep Breath, comboing Dragon's Rage, Tip the Scales, and Fire Breath to evaporate their opponents.
Once again, this is a situation where everybody knows what's going to happen. There's the Blinding Sleep. Trill sends the damage. Huge damage coming in. Double kill. That's it. Good night.
You should consider adding the honor talent Scouring Flame to empower your Fire Breath further, removing many beneficial magic effects from its targets. And one of the best ways to combat this strategy against a Devastation Evoker is to not stack and spread out to avoid these combos. Now, it can be very easy to get drawn into the offensive power of Devastation, but it is equally important to understand its defensive capabilities and utility. When expecting high damage, utilize the Renewing Blaze talent as a premeditated activation to deny and heal back tremendous amounts of damage. Another key to take away from Trill's success on Devastation was his usage of Hover to both retreat and avoid his enemies, as well as pushing in for kills and ending a match. Now, when facing a Devastation Evoker, it's very important to utilize stun locks to prevent this type of retreat. Evokers bring with themselves one of the highest skill-capped abilities available in the game, Chrono Loop. This ability, after 5 seconds of activation, will reset a player's position and health. Trill executed this mechanic with deadly precision versus Flop in this clip.
There's the Trank Bubble coming out in the nick of time. Flop, I don't know if he's going to be able to survive this one. Does manage to duck into bear form, but he just gets deleted by Trill.
Now, a way to counter this is to dispel, but note, if you dispel, you will cause the loop to trigger immediately. So it is usually best to use cooldowns to prevent yourself from getting into this low health position as long as possible when facing an Evoker. Moving on to Preservation Evokers, Europe saw a large amount of Preservation Evoker play. And here's the build of Clyde, who placed third in Cup 1 on Team CGN. Key crowd control talents will be Sleepwalk, Landslide, and Quell. These will allow you to control enemies' movement and deny important casts. Key throughput talents will be Echo, Verdant Embrace, and Dream Breath. You always want to utilize Echo before casting another healing spell to duplicate its effect. Key defensive talents are Rewind, Emerald Communion, and Time Dilation. These are best staggered and only overlapped if absolutely necessary. AWC Cup 1 would present huge opportunities for Preservation Evokers to make plays, and here you can model your play after Mettle and Clyde, who utilized spells such as Rescue to reposition their allies to the best suited position in the fight.
Clyde is completely tapped on the other side. Waz pushing in for the kill. Can they find it? Man, he's even there with Disintegrate.
Evokers are not only able to move their allies around the map, but also knock enemies away, as you can see Mettle doing to stop Swapsy from remaining in his anti-magic zone. Luxia made excellent offensive maneuvers throughout the weekend that you can look to emulate. By hovering in and casting Sleepwalk on enemy healers, you can put your opponent behind and win matches just like this. It's important when facing an Evoker that your team looks to stop Sleepwalk with interrupts and crowd control, and as a bonus effect, Shaman players out there can use Tremor Totem to interrupt its effect.
Keep the team alive. Jetski's just trying to get out of there, using the aspect of the turtle, crossing the map, but there is just nowhere to go.
Abilities like Time Dilation and Emerald Communion would prove vital in keeping their allies alive, as MetX used both of these to keep Raikou up as long as possible here. It's a good idea when combating a Preservation Evoker to hold your hardest hitting attacks during these cooldowns and to use afterward or on a completely different target. We are so excited to see how Evokers evolve over the first season of AWC, especially with the large meta changes in 10.0.5 for this weekend's competition. Don't miss out on any of the action and be sure to tune in.